All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Kids in the Dugout. Tonight we're joined by Austin Simmons, the freshman phenom from Ole Miss, plays both football and baseball. Extremely talented in both of them. Obviously, baseball season is about to get started, but he's already gone through an entire year of football under Lane Kiffin and the incredibly talented quarterback room we have in Oxford, Mississippi. Austin, how you doing tonight, bud?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
And doing good, doing good. So yeah, just kind of get things started. And like I said, you ended up choosing Ole Miss. You graduate early. Everybody knows that whole story, obviously, since you've been here for a semester already. Really highly touted player coming out of high school in both sports. Is what was one of the things that made you choose Ole Miss? Was it the opportunity to play both sports here?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
With the resume they had in the past, just coming off a national championship win, of course, and really just Lane Kiffin. So it's dream to play under an offensive guy, really. Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of really all you need to know, right? You've got a baseball team coming off a national championship when you ended up coming in, and like you said, Lane Kiffin. That's kind of where I wanted to start with the football side of things. Since you've already gone through one season in the SEC already, just kind of what's it like playing for Lane, right? Nobody really knows a whole lot about Lane. He doesn't get out there just a whole lot, right? But
No.
from a player's perspective, your first year in college and you're there with Lane Kiffin, getting to learn from him, a guy that is, coach players like Amari Cooper and Derrick Henry and Reggie Bush, those guys at USC. I mean, he has a long, long list of great players that's played under him in his offense. It's gone on to do not only great things in college, but the NFL, which I imagine is the ultimate goal here.
So, playing with Coach Kiffin, he's a very unique coach. He's not like any other coach I've ever been around. It's hard to really not. He has this special personality that you can't actually dislike. I always want to be around him. He's a great guy to be around, and he never fails like bringing positive energy.
Yeah, and he also has an incredible record with quarterbacks as well. That had to be a key part of your decision to come in as well. And look, there's a lot of really good quarterback talent at Ole Miss right now between yourself and Walker Howard, and of course Jackson Dart coming back to start his third year at Ole Miss. Um, just kind of looking at it overall, I feel like this has to be, if not the best quarterback room in the country, it has to be one of the best. I mean, you know, a lot of people wonder if, God forbid something happens to a starter, what will they do at the quarterback position? And we're sitting here in Oxford, and we've got three guys that can legitimately step in and play. And then your freshman year, we also have Spencer Sanders in there, right? So there's uh, four guys, three of them with you that have played high level Power Five college football before, right? Walker was obviously a freshman at LSU. Spencer played all of those years at Oklahoma State, and then Jackson coming in after playing at USC and already had a year starting uh, under his belt at Ole Miss. So, kind of take me through as a freshman getting into that kind of quarterback room with all of that kind of experience and the stuff you were able to kind of take from all of those guys and learn as your freshman year went along.
Being in a talented quarterback room like that, people will kind of expect a whole lot of tension between all the quarterbacks, always fighting for reps, but like it wasn't that like that at all, really. We all loved each other, really. We learned from each other each and every practice, we competed every single rep. There was not a rep that I remember where it was not competitive, where I did not go 100%. It was just great to be around these guys and really compete at a high level each and every day. And it made me get better while I was here for my freshman year, and I'm continuing to get better on and off the field.
Yeah, and that's one thing I did notice throughout the year. Obviously Spencer would come in and spell Jackson every now and then, whether it be for a package or if Jackson got dinged up on a play or something like that. And it always seemed that every time Spencer made a play, Jackson was the first one to congratulate him and cheer him on, right? So that you kind of have that camaraderie within that quarterback room that everybody just wants everybody to do well, right? Like that's that's something you don't get a lot of places, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just having a great relationship with all these guys, especially having Spencer, in the back room, and he's really taught me a lot, giving me a whole lot of points throughout the season, 'cause he has a whole lot of experience. So, and also Jackson as well, helped me understand the offense even more, the defense even more. And it's always been a blessing to have you guys, really.
Yeah. So that's obviously a really good situation to come into. That way, you're not just kind of thrown into water and forced to swim at the very beginning, right? You're able to learn a little bit. And look, this just kind of looking ahead to this coming up football season. Spencer's gone obviously, but it's you, Walker Howard, Jackson, ton of depth there at the quarterback position. I don't think anybody's worried about that. And then you look out wide. I mean, my God, man, how many weapons do y'all need out there to throw to?
Shoot.
I mean, it's got to be the best receiver core in the country, right?
Absolutely. You can never know enough weapons on an offensive unit. So really just having all these weapons, having all these great guys, great receivers. Shoot, okay, one's coming back for another year. We'll have him. And have great in all offensive positions. And I feel as though like the sky's the limit for us.
Yeah. And again, so we go quarterback room, wide receiver room, offensive line. We had guys coming back,
Yeah.
and that's always a big thing. And then Lane does the Lane thing. He goes into that transfer portal, and he just keeps getting guy after guy after guy up front. Right? I mean, you look around on this entire offense, and even at the running back position there too, with Bentley coming back, and you've got, I mean, just weapons all over the place and really, really solidifying that offensive line up front. Just kind of takes this offense to a whole nother level, I would think. You've got the kid from Southern Miss, the guy from Washington, you got James back and Caleb Bourne. I mean, just name after name after name. Michael Pettis, obviously, he's going to be going into his third year starting into the SEC. I mean, you have experience all over the place. What can you tell me about that unit coming in? Obviously, a lot of new guys. They got to gel together, play together. That's a big part of the offensive line. But my God, man, the talent up front. I mean, it's got to rival the wide receiver and the quarterback room as much as we've talked about it already.
So, with these great big guys coming in, just blocking for us, it really opens up the offensive play just a lot more compared to last year. Shoot, we had offensive was great last year, and I feel like them coming back is going to be stronger. But like just having that depth is really going to make us even more stronger. Just really having them, and especially the line from the transfer guys that are for us for run game, pass game, everything's legit for us this year.
Yeah, and I mean that goes not only for the offensive side of the ball, but also the defensive side. I mean, there's all the talk with Walker Jones and Princely. I'm not even going to try to say his last names. There's no way I'm going to get it right until the season comes around, right? So I'm
Yeah.
not even going to embarrass myself with that. But look, it's just kind of what this coaching staff does. You look up, and Ole Miss is now a national brand in football. The kind of team that people are projecting to, not only make the playoffs. I mean, they're looking for us to host a playoff game, possibly even get a bye, compete into the SEC. It's just a whole new world in football, and Lane and yourself and all of the talented players we have that have chosen to come to Ole Miss are absolutely the reason why. And we as fans, and that's all I am. I know I'm sitting here interviewing you for a show, but I'm nothing more than a fan. That's why I do it. And we all really appreciate everybody's hard work that goes into this upcoming football season. We're all really excited for it, and I know you are too. Being the two sports star you are. The last thing I want to touch on with football, one thing that really makes me excited about it, and something that I think that's really going to help you and any younger or new player that comes into this program. You look around, looks like we have leaders all over the place, right? You've got Jackson Dart, Trey Harris, Jordan Watkins, Jared Ivey, JJ Pegues, guys that have played an absolute ton of Division One football uh, leading into this year. just kind of talk for a second what it means for guys like that, those kind of leaders, to be there for you, be there for the team, and be able to, you know, kind of steer things in the right directions. I think that's a huge part for any team, whether it be football, basketball, baseball, whatever it is, to be successful.
Just having guys like
Just
that,
having
and
guys like that,
they don't have to be
they don't
a
have to
quote
be
unquote young
quote
team. Just
team.
having those guys that
Just
really
having those guys that
want
really
to
want to
just want to win. They're
just
really
want to win.
passionate
They're
about
really
what they
passionate about
do for the sport. They really have true love for the sport. Like there's nothing in the world that could really change anything about that. Like just having guys like that around you is really gonna bring a difference around the whole team in general. It's not just the leaders. We love the leaders, but like anyone in general that brings a positive energy really just brings a positive impact to the whole team. Period.
Yeah. So, all right. So, kind of like I said, you've already been through your first semester at Ole Miss. We're kind of turning into the second semester. That's obviously baseball season, right? And you're
Yeah.
an incredibly talented baseball player to go along with your accolades in football. Um, just kind of what are you seeing from this baseball team so far? Obviously you haven't been able to be out there during football season while these guys were getting ready in fall ball and stuff like that, right? But you're kind of starting to get your feet wet a little bit out there right now, right?
Yes, sir.
So,
Um, Looking at the team,
Looking
like
at
from
the
how
team,
long they've
like
been there, I don't think
I
I feel like the
think
sky's the limit for real.
sky's the limit for it.
I feel as though we can make
Can make
anything happen this season.
anything happen this
I feel as
season.
though like our
Like
one to
our
win
one
the national
to win
championship. I feel as though we can do
championship.
it with this
So we
team
can
this
do this team this
so just being out there,
just being out there,
getting around these guys, getting to know them
guys
better.
are getting better.
I can just see a
I can
national
just see a
championship.
national
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, obviously wouldn't be the first time, right? That's kind of what we're going for here. It's why you want to play baseball at Ole Miss. It's what I keep going back to every time I talk to any of your teammates that I've interviewed on this show. There's an expectation at Ole Miss. You know, there's a thought that Ole Miss is not only competitive, but competitive at the very highest level in baseball. That's what Mike Bianco's doing. He's going to his 24th year now, uh, and he's always competitive. He's outside of last year. Last year was an anomaly, but he always has a competitive team, a team that's hosting super regionals, hosting regionals, going to super regionals. And then, when you get into Omaha, it's really a crapshoot of whoever's healthiest and playing the best at the right time. So you were able to get into an inter squad game this past weekend. I can't remember if it was Chase Parham or somebody that put out your stat line for that one game, but 1 inning, no hits, I Bleav, 2 strikeouts, something like that. Like, how does it kind of feel to get out there and kind of get the juices going, even though you're pitching against your teammates?
It feels good to be back on the
It
mound,
feels good to
honestly.
be back
Going
on
back
the
to the
mound,
same
honestly.
things
Yeah,
I'm
it's
pitching.
no,
It's been a minute since I
been a
pitched
minute
against
since I
players.
pitched against players.
I don't like this is my second appearance in the inter squad game. So before the first one, I haven't pitched to a live player since
Since
last year in June. So it's been like quite some time since I pitched to a hitter. So just getting back to the swing of
just getting back
things,
to these
really just
really
showcase
just
myself,
showcase
where I'm at,
where I'm
how,
at, how
how much of an impact I can
how
make
much
on
of
the
an
team,
impact I can make on the team
eventually be going into the season. So
for the
it feels
season.
good to be back out there.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure it does. That's kind of one thing I'm interested in with this team to see how you're utilized as the year goes on. I think you could be a really big part of this pitching staff with the repertoire you have, especially from the left side. That's one thing that Ole Miss really struggled with the last couple of years is having enough lefties to come in for any kind of matchups or anything really. Now Mike's got 7 or 8 lefties on this pitching staff now. It seems to be a real emphasis coming into this year. So that's one thing I'm real excited about. You obviously being one of them, and you're the type of guy since you've been at football, you're going to be able to get better as the year goes on, right? The more reps you get, the more pitches you're able to throw, the more hitters you're able to see. Uh, you know, Obviously from a rep standpoint, I think you would agree you're a good bit behind these other guys, right? But
Mhm.
now it's kind of go time. How do you uh, kind of split your time between baseball and football right now during with the season coming up the way it is.
So it's a whole lot of multitasking coming throughout the week. So really just focusing on the task, all season. And, I just prioritize that first and make sure that I'm healthy and prepared enough to go into the game and dominate. And also took some time and making this football facility to make sure I don't fall behind walking into spring. So like really just struggling with those two things. I've been doing a great job so far. And I've been still building relationships with new players coming into the football program and also getting to know the baseball players in the baseball program. It's really like everything's been going smooth. And I think it's only going to get better.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're in a unique situation, like we talked about, you playing football and baseball, but not only playing both sports, you're playing for, like we said, Lane Kiffin, this coach that has Ole Miss on this meteoric rise. It seems in football, right? Everything's been up, 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 up ever since he's been here. With even higher expectations, probably the highest expectations that I can remember since I've been following Ole Miss, and that's been over 3 decades now. So I think I've got a little bit of a track record here. But also getting to play for a guy like Mike Bianco, he's a absolute legend in SEC baseball. There's eventually will be a statue of him outside of Swayze Field at Ole Miss. Won a national title, second all time in wins in SEC history, which is quite an accomplishment in itself. With all the great coaches we've had come through this conference, just kind of what's it like playing for Mike. I always love the player's perspective of what Mike Bianco's like to play with, because we see only a small snippet of him, in post games and stuff like that. But he just seems like a really good dude, and he's a guy that absolutely knows what he's doing when he gets on the diamond.
Oh yeah, so meeting Coach Bianco for the first time, you know, he had that competitive edge on him. He always has a big competitive mindset, no matter where he's at. He always wants to win. He'll do anything to win. He'll do anything to support the program, doing positive things. He wants nothing less for this team, and like I just really getting to know more and more every day. And, like just it's honestly probably one of the best things ever happened. And like just being around him, just a great feeling.
Yeah, it's one of those things that many years from now, down the road, when you're done with your playing career, either football, baseball, whatever it is, kids, grandkids, all that, and you can look back and say, I played for Mike Bianco's. They're going to look in the record books, and he's either going to be first or second in SEC wins. He's going to be an absolute legend. Kind of you talking about his competitiveness kind of brought back a memory of mine back when he played at LSU, and they had Ben McDonald, the pitcher at LSU there, All-American, #1 draft pick, all that, absolute stud. And Ben talks about his relationship with Mike Bianco and playing with him. And he said every time Mike Bianco would come out on the mound, now, Mike's not the biggest guy. Now he'll probably talk like the biggest guy, but he's not the tallest. I'll say that. And Ben McDonald was, and he's Ben McDonald said every time Mike would come out there and talk to him, he'd make him step off the mound so he could look him right in the eye. Just so he could give it to him eye to eye, right? That's
he speaks like
yeah,
he speaks to us like he's 6'7".
Yeah. No. He's going to talk to you like he's Andre the Giant out there. But he's going to get his point across though, and it's probably wise to listen. Like I said, he's had a ton of baseball in his career, seen and coached more than I could ever remember. That's for sure. Absolute legend of the game. Uh, so far out here with baseball, you're practicing, getting ready for the season. Get to go to Hawaii here next weekend. I'm sure that will be a ton of fun. Obviously, some late night games here back in the Central Time Zone, but that's okay. We're going to make it work. Get our nap at like 5, 6 p.m., something like that. That way we can stay up late enough. We're going to manage. Kind of what's your thoughts of this team so far? Is there anybody particular that has stood out to you since you've been out there practicing with them?
of course, the seniors, being around, and like just getting around him,
No,
he's a great guy to be around. And of course, guys that have been there, with the national championship,
championship.
like
Like,
of course, he's a great guy to be around. He always brings that positive mojo around the team. He always wants to make sure everyone's okay. He's just that true leader, and like just being around the team in general, just like I don't know how to really explain it though, but like just being around them, it's just a great feeling. It brings like a feeling like I've never felt like around any other baseball team before. They're just great guys.
Is there anybody you faced so far in either scrimmages, live BP, anything like that, that you seem to have trouble with? He might just gives you fits up there at the plate for whatever reason. Is there somebody that's just a hard out so far for you?
It's really hard to tell. I've only pitched twice off the mound, and I really can't answer that for you. I can probably give you an answer this upcoming weekend. I'm gonna have another appearance this Sunday.
Yeah, that'll definitely be interesting to see then. Like kind of like we talked about earlier, the more reps, more batters you see, you're obviously going to get better. You're sitting, what, 91, 92, something like that with the fastball. Got a pretty good curveball on you from what I hear. Obviously, I haven't seen it in person, but I trust the people that talk about pitching at Ole Miss. There's guys that's covered for a long time. Chase Parham being the main one. He's been around for a while covering this program. He does a really, really good job. Uh, really thinks your curveball has a chance to really be one of those big pitches. Is so kind of from a role standpoint. Kind of what I'm thinking is, just a lefty out of the bullpen come in, get through an inning, something like that. Has anything like that been talked about, or do you have different expectations from a role standpoint, or you just kind of letting it go and see where it falls?
I'm still quite unsure like what role I'm taking in going to the season. I guess I'm gonna find out well into the season. Shoot, probably next week, or even for July. Just gotta figure that out.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely time to do it. Baseball's a long season, and it to do football and baseball at the same time is so hard. There's not a lot of people that's been able to do it, especially at a high level at both. One of the people that comes to mind from a quarterback pitcher, that dynamic, which is also interesting in its own right. You see people that maybe play quarterback, play outfield like John Rice Plumley did, or uh, Jerry Neely played running back and outfield. But Jameis Winston, he played quarterback and pitched for Florida State, did both obviously pretty well, right? He, ended up Heisman, going number one overall, and he held his own up on the mound too. So hopefully something like that works out for you. Especially the Heisman Trophy and number one pick. We're really pulling for that. I would love that more than anything, to be quite honest with you. So look, man, I appreciate your time here with me today. I appreciate you joining me talking about this. But look, I know it's a hard road ahead for you. Having to delegate time between two SEC sports, and in this conference, nothing's easy in football or baseball. It's the best in both of them. So, but if anybody can do it, I definitely think you would be the one to do it. And look forward to seeing you progress not only on the baseball field as the year goes on, but obviously going into next year for football too. So, I really appreciate your time here tonight.
Thank you, and I appreciate you too.
All right, Austin, have a good one, buddy.
Yes, sir. Howdy, toddy.
Bye, Todd.